We'll try to keep to 1 hour because of our Muslim brothers that will be going for their prayer. I think so far we've actually kept to 1 hour, and I don't think today is going to be an exception. Okay. Okay, 12:01. Let's start doing some preamble before the 2 minutes, will elapse. Let's do some preamble. Now I'm going to share my screen. Please, can someone confirm you are seeing my screen? I think what I'm displaying now is just a list of clients that we work with 2-3 times yearly.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen, sir.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's 3 minutes after 12. Let us get started right away. Today, we are looking at a very important shortcut key in Microsoft Excel called Ctrl E. So I'm going to just make that a very bold icon so that we can always work with it. I'll be copying it on every screen. Control plus letter E. Make this bigger. Okay, this is the function we're looking at today, Ctrl E. What is Ctrl E in Excel? While we're still waiting for others, let me take the overview. Ctrl E simply means flash fill. Now, flash fill is an icon. It's not a function. It's an icon that was introduced by Microsoft into the 2013 version of Excel. So if you are using 2007 version or 2010, you won't have this shortcut key. Now, we know a lot of times you're working, it's faster, much more efficient and effective to work with shortcut keys. I am currently covering a session with one of the banks and have been hitting on them, reduce this mouse movement, mouse everywhere, clicking here and there. It's much faster, much more effective when you can actually use the shortcut keys. And one very popular shortcut key is the Control key with the Alt key. Maybe another day we're going to be looking at the Alt key. Today, let's look at the Control key and letter E. Now, where did Microsoft insert this icon? They inserted it under the Data tab. So if you are on your laptop, click on Data tab. When you click on Data tab, there is a group called Data Tools. The group Data Tools, you see it, very close to where you have text to column. On top of it, you will see an icon called Flash Fill. Now, in bracket, you will see Control E. And what does it do? It said it automatically fill in values. Enter a couple of examples you want as output and keep the active cell in the column you want filtered in, fitted in. Now, that's what Ctrl E do. Ctrl E or flash fill works by a given example, which means I have my data in a form that I don't need, and I want to rearrange them or prepare them in separate form. I will give Microsoft an example. This is how I want my report to be. By the time I give one example, if Excel does not get it, I can give 2 or 3 more examples. So now I'm using the same file, apart from maybe a couple of adjustments I did. I'm using the same file I used last week. Now let's look at this sheet I have. It's saying task. Please, can somebody read that task for us? If you can see my screen, read the task for us.
The list of new hires of your company, Hilltop Homes, have been sent to you in an Excel file as downloaded from the company's database into Excel in 3 columns. You are preparing a management report that requires the following. 1. The names should be produced in 1 column in uppercase. 2.
Okay,
let's
hang on there. Thank you very much. Hello. Let's hang on. Let's prepare the first one. We have these names this way. I know last week, so here I'm going to say full name. Last week, we used about 3 different functions to do the same thing. If you were in the class last week, we used concatenate, we used test, join, and other functions to prepare this. So what we're doing last week, we're doing something like this. Concatenate, and then we took the first test. We took the second test. And then we took the third test. This one, okay, uppercase, so I actually should have started with upper. This is what we did last week, and then we copied down. So let me bring out the formula I've just used, which is what we did last week. You can see this is the formula I used last week to solve this problem. So it's saying equal to upper, bracket open, concatenate, then I run through the arguments. Now, if I've done this, you can see I have to use this formula to do that. But now I don't want to use the formula. I want to achieve this same thing. Now, what am I supposed to do? Let me fill this one backwards, okay? Okay. Now, I want to achieve this same thing, but I don't know any formula. My head is not going to any formula. So what am I do? I use flash fill, which is Ctrl E. Now, Ctrl E works by a given example. So I'm going to type here how I want the names to look like. So I manually type Meta Stella. Now, once I finish, I have to cross-check that my spellings are correct and it's appearing in the way I want to do it. Now that I've typed that, I place my cursor on that name I have typed and press Ctrl plus E. Look how it's going to happen, Ctrl E. My work is done. So if I have 1,000 names and I'm preparing this report, I just give one example and I place my cursor on that example I have done. I press Ctrl and I press letter E. So Ctrl E have looked at the example I've given and used that to filter down the rest of the column. So if you have 10,000 names you want to work on, Ctrl E will immediately filter that down. So you don't even need any formula, take a comma, take this. Ctrl E does it. And if you're even writing in uppercase, let's assume I want it this way. Now, I've just done it, in lowercase. Let me take this. This should be capital. which means I'm saying all the names should be in this form. I take my Ctrl E. So I've given an example of how I want my names to look like, and then I just filter down to the end. This is a very fast way of working, Ctrl E. Now, let's go to the next one, which is what we also did last week. Okay, no, we haven't finished with that. Please, who was reading for us? Can you read the next one for us? This has 2 legs. Can you read the next second exercise for us?
Okay. Emails should be assigned to all the new hires in the company's format of first letter or first example, comma, .surname@hilltophomes.com.
Okay, so now we have all these as new hires, and we are told assign emails to them. And every company has the format for their emails. Now, for this company, the format is first letter of first name dot surname at the company hilltophomes.com. Now, remember last week we also did this. We used concatenate left. We used 2 functions, concatenate and left. Now, one thing about flash fill is that you have to be doing flash fill on a field that is to the immediate right of what you're working on. So I'm going to push this one to the right by inserting a column. To insert a column is simply Alt-IC. Alt-IC will insert a column. That is Alt-insert column. You don't need to start. So let me say this is email. Now, we are told that the email is first letter of first name. For this person, first letter is 0, that is O, and it's usually lowercase. So I take first letter, dot surname at hilltophomes.com. Okay, this is the email of that first person. So I give an example that this is how all the emails will be: first letter of first name dot surname at companyname.com, hilltophomes.com. I place my cursor here, Ctrl E, and all the emails are formatted. So you can see how fast Ctrl E is. We did this last week, and you saw that when we were doing this email, it was a little bit complicated for people who are still low skill. What we did was come here, we did this, I remember, left. Okay, we started with concatenate, left of this one, comma, dot, comma, this one, comma, at hilltophomes. This is what we did last week. Now, it has to be lowercase. Emails are lower, so I'm coming here to say lower. This is what we did last week. So you can see that the formula is much longer. You can see how it is if I have to use a function to do it. This is what I would do. And then I can now copy this one down. So you see, this Ctrl E is much, much easier, much faster, and very accurate as well. So let's look at the next one. Now we are moving to the next one. Let me find out if we have any question. Any question, please? Okay. So we can move on. Now, this second one, please, who was reading for us? Can you help us read task 2? This one.
The names of staff as at March 31, 2026 was submitted to you. You have to split the names into various columns of surname and other names, rather than have them in one column.
Okay. Now, this is another simple thing that you see users spending a lot of time, probably staying even hours to achieve this. We have these names in one column. Now, a lot of reasons why this will be depend on your software. You download items from the software or the internet into your Excel file, and they fall in this way. But the report you are preparing says you need to split these names. Last week, we also did this using different functions to split. We used the text before, text after, we use text to column, we use text split. We use about 3 approaches to split this. But let's look at what Ctrl E will do for us. So we have surname, and then we have other name. Now, Ctrl E or flash fill works by a given example. So the first names there are the surnames. So I'm going to type the surname, Edoke. And then the second name is the first name or the other name, Bamidele. Now, having given the example, all I need is place my cursor on that first name, Ctrl E, come here, Ctrl E, and my work is done. So you can see how effective Ctrl E is in data cleaning and data analysis. Type the first one the way you want it, Ctrl E, and they are done. Type the other names the way you want it, Ctrl E, and they are done. So this is a very fast way of working with data. Now, remember what we did last week. We did this same exercise last week. And what did we do? We came here and we said we want to take a doge out. And we know that was the text appearing before our delimiter. Last week, we defined what a delimiter is. A delimiter is a common separator between words in a text that is consistent through all the items in the column. So we did this last week, text before, and said this, and then we took a comma. They asked for a delimiter. We know what a delimiter is. A delimiter here is a space. So I insert a space, and then the other arguments are optional arguments. I've also mentioned the difference between mandatory arguments and optional arguments in an SS syntax. So I hit my enter and I get this. I come here, I copy down. Get to this side, I use another function, test before, test after. And I come here, do the same thing. And I hit my enter key. I come here, I copy down. So you see, despite these functions that Microsoft is bringing up, flash fill, which is Ctrl E, is still a faster approach to data and data cleaning per se. Now let's go to the next one, data tray. Okay, are we on data tray? Okay, can somebody read the task for us? Task on data tray.
All right. This report is usually downloaded from the website weekly for your reports. The names get into your Excel sheets in such a scattered manner that it takes almost forever to rearrange them in proper order. Using relevant Excel functions, prepare this report with the names appropriately arranged.
Okay, because this is still also, we treated this question also last week. I say sometimes you download your data either from the internet or from your software. If it's a bank, different banks have different software. Some are using FlexCube, some are using Finacle. The stockbroking environment, they also have their softwares. And when you download this data into Excel, sometimes they come into Excel in very unpleasant manner. And I look at this report, you get this. Now, the client from where we developed this question actually spends hours, sometimes a full day when they have this data here to be about 1,000. The staff working will manually come here and remove all these irrelevant spaces manually. Get to the next one, remove all this data, and then go to the next one. Now, if you're doing that for 1,000 names, you know how long that is going to be. Now, I want to copy this customer into this place. I'm still using Ctrl key. Rather than do Ctrl C and Ctrl V, I just want to place my cursor here. And I know that I'm going to copy what is on the left. So please don't bother to copy. Place your cursor here, hold Ctrl and place letter R as in right, Ctrl R. Ctrl R will copy what is on the left to the right. So for those who didn't see this, what I'm doing, I want to copy this customer name to this particular place. So I place it where I want it to be. I hold my Ctrl, I press letter R, arrow as in right. So I copy that there. Now, what I need to do is simply to say, okay, is there any order here? There doesn't seem to be an order. Even if I click this way, my data is still scattered, so it still doesn't make any sense. Now, last week, if you remember what we did, if you were last week, we used a function called trim. And what we did was to say equal to trim, and then I did this, and then we copied down. This is what we did last week to address that report. So rather than spend days or hours doing that, trim actually solved that problem. Now, if I don't want to use trim, and I'm using a 2013 version above, remember I said flash field was not there in 2007 and 2010. So I'm going to, if I have 2013 and later version, I'm going to use the flash field. So what I do is I give an example. Remember, flash field work by a given example. Friends. Now, I've done this. All I need to do is to take Ctrl E, and my work is done. So the moment I take Ctrl E, my work is as good as done. So it's as fast as anything. I don't need to have anything to go and check whether there's one formula syntax error or not. It doesn't have to be. Now, let's look at another one that is a bit more technical, but where flash field can also be very relevant. Can somebody read that task for us, task 4?
All right, sir.
Okay. Sorry, who is reading? Can your name, please?
Michael, sir.
Okay, Michael, thank you very much. Okay,
sir. All right. In the staff details given, the employee number is made up of two parts. The staff ID, which is the first 4 characters, and the department code, which is the last 3 characters. You are required to split the column, that is employment number, into 2 columns of staff ID and department code.
Okay. Now, we didn't have this last week or so. I don't know if let me see. Yeah, we didn't. We had that last week too. And we use different functions to also do this. But now we are told that this employee number is actually made up of 2 parts, the staff ID and the department code. So in the report we are doing, we don't need it together. We need staff ID and then department code. Now we are told within this employee number, the first 4 characters is the staff ID, while the last 3 is the department code. So all I need to do is to type the first 4, 2, 3, 7, 5, that is the first 4. And then the last one is the department code. So I type the first one, and then I take Ctrl E. I move to this place, I take Ctrl E. Now, I have just solved this problem. Rather than manually typing and then bringing all together, there's still some chances of error. Ctrl E would have solved that problem without error. Now, let me say something about Ctrl E so we don't think it's all rosy. Beautiful as Ctrl E is, it has its own shortcoming. Let's take, for example, this first one is 2375. if you make a mistake to type maybe 2378 instead of 5, the system will not know that you have made a mistake. They will think that you probably added 3 to the last character. And that means all the staff ID will be wrong. So you make a mistake in the first one, there will be a mistake in all the items you are dealing with. So we need to be careful when we use the Ctrl E, because we said it works by a given example. So if that your example is faulty, if that your example contains an error or any inappropriate item, every other item you are going to fill it down to will have the same inappropriate error or inappropriate item listed there. So we do, each time we're using this, I advise candidates everywhere that, look, be very careful that you do a recap or a review of that example you are giving. And if you give an example and you take Ctrl E, and it does something, you maybe have 10,000 names or 10,000 items, and you give one example and you do Ctrl E, and the system doesn't work, Microsoft is going to tell you, we checked for your data to the left and we did not see any pattern. Please go down maybe to another 5, 6 level and give another example. By the time you give 2, 3 examples, Excel will be able to see the kind of pattern that we are talking about. If you have 1,000, it's very possible that that pattern may not be recognized by Excel by giving only one. So if you give one, it doesn't work, and it shows you that sign that Microsoft Excel is unable to recognize a pattern in this you're doing. Please don't bother. Just move down maybe to the 3rd one or so, and then fill in another example. By the time you give 2, 3 examples, even if you have 10,000 items, it will understand the format you are talking about. So I've done mine well. I'm taking Ctrl E, come here, Ctrl E, and my work is done. Any question? Or comment?
This is understandable.
Hello, somebody talking?
Yes, this is understandable. I totally understand what this is all about.
Yeah, but
can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said this is understandable, sir. It's going very well.
All right, thank you very much. So assuming I am using 2010 Excel or 2007, remember, I said Microsoft introduced this in 2013, which means it's not in the earlier version. And I have to do this same task. What will I do? Several approaches I can actually do. First, I'll look at this. I'm taking 4 letters here and taking 3 letters to the right. Now, the first 4 letters I'm taking, they are from the left. That is beginning from 2, 3, 7, 5. I'm taking the first 4 from the left. And then the last 3, I can say 3 letters if I begin to count from the right. So I can use a function called left. What left does is that it takes a particular item beginning the counting from the left. So if I come here and say left, it's going to ask me the test. What test am I talking about? And I say I'm talking about this test. If I take my comma, it's going to ask me how many characters do I want? And we're already told that the first 4 characters are what is staff ID. So I say I want the first 4 characters. And I hit. It's the same thing. So all I need to do is just come here and copy down. Now, how do I get the department code? I need the last 3 from the right. So rather than use left, I'm going to use a function called right. So I'll say right. I come to this same place. I take my comma. It's going to ask me, how many characters from the right do I need? I need 3 characters because we are told the last 3 characters are the department code. So I hit my enter key and it's giving me. I can come here and then filter down. So if I'm using, incidentally, if I'm using a lower version, I won't even be able to do this because the left and right function came in 2016. So they are not even available to 2010 and 2013 and 2007 version. So if you're using earlier version, you certainly will only be able to use the split text to column. That's what you'll be able to use. So that's a very old function, test to column. Let me see if we can just rush through that. So if you're using the old approach, I'm sure you can use the test to column. Click on data. We already did this last week too. Test to column. It will bring you straight to this place. And rather than take delimiter, because there's no delimiter in this item here, we know that delimiter is a common separator between words. Now, this is like written together as one word, so there's no separator. So where you don't have a separator, click on Fit Suite. When you click on Fit Suite and take this, you will see your data. So just manually click to separate them. So you see that I have just clicked the fourth letter there. Now, if you are using the old version 2007, 2010, this one is available to everybody. So you don't have any reason not to be able to do this assignment. This is available right from 2007. I think even the 2003 Excel that doesn't have a ribbon, this provision of text to column has always been there for 2003. So it's very old function. So you need to click there and then just click finish. So you see that I've achieved the same purpose. So those who are using the very old version of 2007 and 2010, you can, this is only option you can use based on what you currently have. You cannot use the left and right function which we use here. You cannot use flash fill because left and the right function came up in 2016. It's available for 2019 and then Microsoft 365. So if you run into that situation and you don't have any of these earlier ones, you can do test to column, but in that case, you use delimited. Okay, any question? I'm going to delete this column. I highlight Alt HTC, it goes. So to delete a column, I just say Alt Home, delete column. That's the easiest way. Now we're going to be learning a lot of shortcuts as we move on in this program. Now I've started with Ankara. We're going to be using a lot of short. Please, any question?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
All right.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your name, please.
My name is Samuel Rutumi.
Okay, Samuel, hi.
What if these numbers are not they are not equal in numbers with each other, with the rest? Like maybe you see these ones have only 4 numbers. Like let's take the first one, 2, 3, 7, 4. There are 4 digits. So what if some are 4, some are 5, some are 6?
Okay. Did we get Samuel's question? Now, let me say what I normally advise Excel users. For me, I'm a bit fanatical using Excel. So that makes me believe that when it comes to data crunching, that Excel can do almost everything. I may not be right, but that's how fanatical I am using Excel. And maybe that's why I even named my last Excel book, if it is data, I use Excel. Now, that's because I believe that once I'm analyzing data, I can always look through it. Now, assuming that I have some 3, some 4, some 5, and then I have other ones, letters ADM. From what I can see right now, that some are numbers, some are text. Some are numbers, some are text. So I'll be considering things like, I'm not sure right now, but things like, why don't I say it should search on that thing from the left until it finds a text? I think that will work. I'm trying to say I'm good at right. That means 1, some are 2, some are 3. I'm just saying search from the left until you see a text, not a number. I'm sure that will work. I'll look through it after the training. I'm going to look through it because that's a very good question. It's possible that some employee numbers are 3, some are 4, even though it's not a normal with an organization. Usually they will have 5 digits, maybe some 00, blah, blah. Even if you're number 1, it will be 0001. But in case you're doing something that actually meets that requirement, how do we attempt it? And the way I'm looking at it right now is that I might be using things like test and then num. Num is a function that actually identifies a number. And then you can see there's a number value there, which converts text to numbers. I think some of those also work. I'm not very sure right now, and I don't think I want to crack my brain for it, but I'll try. But that's a very good question. Probably by next Friday, I'm going to put up a question that tests this. I would have been able to run around it, and then I can bring the solution out. Would that be okay, Samuel? Hello? Hello, Samuel, can you hear me? It's off. Please confirm you still hear me, the general audience.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay,
I'm with you.
so, all right. So alternatively, if I have the time, I will look through it and then I will post a solution on the Excel community. Since almost all of us here belong to the Excel community, I'll post a solution there. I'll put some figures together, test that, and then I'll put a solution there. So thank you very much for that question. Any other question? Okay. If there's no question, we still have almost 20 minutes, so we are not doing badly. If there's no question, I want to go to the last data. Now, can somebody read the last data for us? The task.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Now, the weekly sales records of Panama Limited is sent to you for your weekly report. You have always had problems with computing the total sales, as the unit sales column is mixed with product names. You were informed of the power of Ctrl E in data cleaning and analysis. Using the knowledge gained, you are expected to, number one, calculate the total sales. Number two, prepare a summary sales table by product.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, this is the kind of problem that we face, especially from the finance part, where we are working on data that were imputed by another department, say operations. Now, I encountered this problem when I was doing something for a client in Abuja, and there was almost a fight between internal audit and operation. What was the problem? The way they post into the GL, internal audit were not comfortable because they have to do much more work to reconcile the data. For operations, that is how the software is, and it's not their business. They just post their work and move on. And now you're going to meet a lot of messy data when you work. Example is this. Look at this. It had dates of transaction, product, and quantity sold. It would be better if the quantity sold was just 15. But here, he has created 15 tubers of 15 tubers. For drink, he has inserted 231 bottles. And we have the unit price. Now, if I want to get the sales, it's actually 15 multiplied. The first one will be 15 multiplied by 2,800. Now, if I do the usual arithmetic, do this, you know that this other cell is an alphanumeric cell. So because it's an alphanumeric cell, it's not going to pick it as a number alone. So what is it going to give me? Look at what it's going to give me as answer. Wrong value. Because that particular test, which is D, column D, is an alphanumeric test. Now, what those guys were doing was, first of all, they split this column and separate the numbers first before they now multiply by the unit price. But if you have this, there's no need pulling that down to the operation, guys. Excel has come with a lot of functions that can do this. So I'm going to use one or two functions, and then we're going to see what Ctrl E can do for us. Now, if I'm doing this, last week we did this question, and I used a function called learn. Now, if I take this out, learn this, and I take 2. So it's telling me you enter 2 for argument, take it again. Sorry, left. I'm using left. And I pick this, and I take 2. Now, that's going to give me 15. What formula have I used there? I've used this. Left of T, pick the first two characters. But look at, if I get to this place, it's 3. So if I use this, it's going to give me 23 here, that instead of 2, 3, 1. So we notice that this formula will not work, because if I use this and I multiply by the unit sales, this will be correct. Now, it's giving me date. We already know I've treated date here. Date and numbers in Excel, they are the same thing. So it's giving me date. All I need is just to convert to numbers by saying Ctrl Shift 1. So that's the answer there. So it's giving me this, which is same thing as 15. If I do manually 15 multiplied by 2,800, that's what I'll get. Now, I have used a function here saying left of D4, which is this, pick the first two characters. But what if I get here? Would this be right? Certainly not. If I pick this will not be right. Let me just turn the whole of this one to numbers. I don't have that. This is not right, because 231 multiplied by 1250 cannot give me 28,750. But what is it doing? It's taking 23 because I've already put a function there. So because of that, what we did last week was, okay, take this, and when you get to the number of characters required, just say should find the space. So I say find. It's going to say you find what? I'm saying find a space. Because I know between 15 and T is a space. 231, there's a space after 1. And say find a space in this place. If I do this, I'm going to get 15. Now, if I copy down, it's that I have 231. So I'll be more comfortable. So, okay, I can multiply this one by the unit price without bothering to split. This is correct. And then this is correct. So I can use this and then just filter down. I've used the formula, left, and then I filter down. Now, I can use that to achieve that. Alternatively, I just did test before. So if I say test before space, this will also still give me 15. Now, what formula did I use now? I've used another formula, test before space. And the test before space here is the number. So I just use this to multiply the unit price and I get my answer. That's what we achieved last week, I think so. But now, I'm doing the same job. I don't have knowledge of test before and left or right, whatever. But I know the power of flash fill. So I can manually come here and say, let me put in a helper number, a helper letter. I can use A, B, any number. I want to use a helper letter. And I can say A. Now, 15, the first one is 15, multiplied by what I have there is 2,800. Now, I hit my enter there. So what I'm actually doing is that A is my helper letter. Like I said, it could be B, could be C. I'm just using A. It could have been any letter. 15, which is the number, multiplied by the unit price. Now, if I take Ctrl E, what does it give me? It will immediately put A before every number. Look at this column, A231 times 1215. Here, A164 times 1215. So if you notice that it has done the same thing I did, picked A, and then the unit number, and then the unit price or unit sales price. So all I'm doing, basic arithmetic, we always start with equal to sign. So if I replace that equal to with, if I replace A with equal to, I would have turned that into an arithmetic symbol and I'll get the same value. Let me do this one so that we can compare notes. Let me do this. That's before. Okay, let me multiply this by this one. Okay, that's 42. Let me just filter this one down so that, okay. So now this is what I'm supposed to get, irrespective of what function I use. This is what I'm supposed to get. Now, all I'm doing here, I have A15 multiplied by 280. Okay, this here we are still on time. If I change this A, remember every function that you are entering, once you type equal to, simply means the system recognizes that you are performing an arithmetic operation. So if I remove this A15 and I change the A to equal to, so it's going to be equal to 15 multiplied by 280. That's what it will be. At the moment it's equal to starting it, then it's an arithmetic notation that I'm trying to type. So all I need to do here is to highlight the whole of this one, and I say Ctrl H, find what? I'll say find A, and then replace it with equal to. I'm sure you understand the trick I'm trying to do now. I'm saying look for where there's A and replace it equal to. At the moment it replaces A with equality sign, it turns it into an arithmetic symbol. So I just click replace all, and then my job is done. Now, if you check, this is the same answer with this. If you find the difference, you're going to get 0. So I don't know why that is giving me that. Okay, fine, 0. So you can see that it's 0. The same thing I'm getting using this function is the same thing I get using my flash fill. All I've just done with the flash is that just try to be a bit tactful by using a helper button or a helper number or a helper character, let me say a helper alphabet. Now I've used A, like I said, you could have as well used C, you could have used D or Z, it could have been anything. You use a helper button, multiply by that. So when operations of those posting give you this kind of report that is a bit dirty, and you don't want So let's just make a try. Place my cursor here, Alt equal to 4874. So I think we're right, 4874. So this is the title there. And did the question say we should put a chart? I think so. So if I want to put a chart there, highlight this. Now, once you've highlighted, please don't bother to go to Insert. Hold your Alt key and press F1. So what you're going to do is simply take Alt plus F1. Alt F1 will give you a column chart. So I highlight the whole of this one. I hold down my Alt key and I press F1 and my chart is ready. So this is what I need to do there. Remember what I said about charting. Please don't put grid lines where you do dashboard report. Actually, dashboard doesn't encourage grid lines. So I take out the grid lines and then I try to make this side bigger by coming here. This is covering what I'm doing. So I'm going to reduce the width gap here to make this bigger. And I also want to place my radius on top so I can take out this one. So this is how my report will look like. And I think I would have been done with these reports. So that is the power of Flash Fill, which was introduced by Microsoft in 2013 under the Data tab in the Data Tools group. Let's leave. We have 6 minutes. That's not bad. Can we ask our questions and comment?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please, I have a question.
Okay, please. Okay, your name, please.
Michael, sir.
Okay, Michael, yeah.
Yes, sir. In a situation whereby we were given a job like this,
yeah,
and you have done justice to it, but in case we want to present it to our how would I call our employer now?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how do we go about presenting it? Are we just going to give it to them raw like this, or there is a format? There's a format to give it.
I understand what you're saying, Michael. What we've just done, we've done data analysis. That's what we've just done. Data analysis, data cleaning, and report preparation, not presentation. If you're doing a presentation, the choice is yours. Either you do your through PowerPoint, in which case you can actually link your PowerPoint to your Microsoft Excel to pick your data, or you are preparing it as a dashboard, in which case all this will be put in a dashboard page. Dashboard is a one-page summary of your KPIs, your key performance indices. So you can actually prepare, present this. Or what we've done now, you can present this one to your supervisor, your manager, because that means you want them to be seeing all this data and all this you are doing. In fact, as far as your management is concerned, your boss is concerned, it gives you an assignment. It doesn't want to know whether you use test before, Flash Fill, concatenate. That's irrelevant. What they want at that level is results. And you've done your report to make sure that you get a very efficient data report. For the presentation, like I say, the choice is yours. If you're presenting on PowerPoint, that means you're going to move all these charts and tables to PowerPoint to explain. But should you want to also explain the details of this in PowerPoint, you can, if you go to PowerPoint, you see add code, you can link your PowerPoint straight into Excel and explain all this or then move back to PowerPoint. But if you're presenting it, assume you have a lot of charts. We've gotten about 4, 5 different data, and I'm presenting this. You can start to just create another sheet and call it dashboard, where you will now move all the summaries to. So your dashboard page would be a very good page for presentation. You don't need to give your management or manager all this. These are like working papers. I think that's the right word to use. These are like working papers. So what we've done now, we've done report preparation, not report presentation. If you are presenting, you can move them to a more comfortable environment, either your PowerPoint or your dashboard page.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, questions I'll stop sharing my page now. Where do I stop sharing? Yeah, please, questions. Any comment? Okay, somebody's raising up his hand. Yeah. Okay, please, Hakim, yeah. Yeah, Hakim.
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah,
Okay,
good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon,
Yes,
Hakim.
sir. You made mention of control, the function of control H. I can't understand that area.
Control
H, maybe something relating to column.
Okay. Yeah. What I said.
A shortcut.
Yeah. I'm saying, I'm saying that if you want to insert a column, the traditional approach is people right-clicking here and then taking insert, that you don't have to bother. If I want to insert a column here, I just say take Alt IC to insert a column. If you want to delete, just Alt H delete column. So that's it. That there are faster ways.
I can't get it.
Hello?
Hello, you said Alt what if you want to delete?
If I want to, let's assume that I'm trying to delete this column. Okay. No, let me delete this one here. I want to delete this column. Rather than highlight the whole thing and then begin to right click, place your cursor anywhere. Press your Control, press H, press D and C, or Alt H D C. Let me type it out so that you can see Alt, comma H, comma D, comma C. What it simply means that Alt, Home, Delete, column. Alt, Home, Delete, column. So once you press Alt HDC independently, Alt HDC, that column will go immediately. See, I've deleted the column that I have my chart, so I say you don't need to. If you are deleting a row, just change that C to R. If I want to delete these rows, I just delete and delete. There are a lot of shortcut keys that you need to be very familiar with so that you can be more efficient using Excel.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, it's one. Okay, if we don't have any other question, I want to say thank you very much for your time. I'm sure my colleague has done the recording. This recording will be posted on the Excel community. Please remember the promo we said have not commenced. I think the office is still doing one or two things. Right now, those modules, they are cumulative about 105,000 naira, but the office is considering a promo that will start anytime from now. I think the SUD started with the IT team to have 25,000 to have access to all the modules there for about 6 months to 1 year. So once that's concluded, I'll be posting that on the platform for 25,000 for price of 105. Yeah, somebody was making a comment. Hello. Now, for those making inquiry for the Academy. Please, I've muted everybody. If you want to talk, please, can you unmute yourself? For those making inquiry for the Academy, which is starting June 1st, yeah, we've got to some inquiries, some payments already being made. Please, my colleague will be attending to that. The Academy is starting 1st of June. And like I said, the Academy is not for the people here. The Academy is for fresh graduates. The Academy is for the unemployed who are in the labor market. What we're trying to do in the Academy is to bridge the gap between our academia and the labor market. I'm sure we saw the comment of the MD of the Money Point lately, saying that they have a lot of offers, but that most Nigerians, their CVs are, they are not employable. Let me use the language I read. Now, when somebody says they are not employable, it doesn't mean they've not gone to school. The soft skills that actually sell in the industry, they are fairly lacking in our education system. And that's what we're trying to do in TAFS and Icon Academy. We want to get fresh graduates coming to the academy for 3 weeks. Let's bridge that gap. We want them to go into the labor market. Let the employers see that they can actually work with these basic tools. These are the skills that employers are looking for. And that's why we spend as much as 3 weeks to groom them. And so far, it doesn't look likely that you pass through that 3 weeks program and then see yourself less able in using this tool than probably your counterpart who's good in maybe in UK or in Canada or the US. We've screwed that course content very deeply, and we've made our trainers to follow strictly by the Microsoft course content. So they are spending 1 full week for Microsoft Excel, covering every aspect of the foundation course content. Same with MS Word, same with PowerPoint. And we've seen a couple, when they get out of that program, that they're always happy. And when they hit their first job, we are getting a lot of testimony from them. So you can pay for your younger ones. Like I said, it's not for those of us here. It's not for workers, because it's a full-time academy, Monday to Friday for 3 weeks. The only thing they require is their laptop. They will get a laptop. If they have a very low version, we might load Microsoft 365 for them so that they can get the very latest function that Microsoft is releasing in all this aspect. So thank you very much. Let me look at the comment before I log in. If I log off, okay. All right. So if there's no other comment, I want to say thank you very much. See you guys next Friday. Bye-bye.